Oh, where's that at?
I actually go to school in the Caribbean.
Wow.
So now, because of COVID, I'm back here and just doing my thing. It's just a lot colder. Cool. Yeah, it's not bad. Could be worse.
It could be worse. That's exactly right. Chase, what about you? Are you still on that? Are you still on in Alcoholics Anonymous, or is that not anymore?
Well, it's kind of funny. I actually just got in trouble today. Somebody saw my chest waxing video, right? So
I didn't know you had one of those. Okay.
I on the side do like clothing modeling like type stuff for a bunch of surf shops and stuff, and they expect me to wear a shirt a certain way. So normally I'm like, shredded up, like, I have a good physique. So they saw my video of when I got chest waxed. Huh?
Just a guest on. Why are you bragging about your physique?
No, I was just telling them, like, so I can't even like drink right now or anything for like the most part, starting here in like a week, because they're about to cancel my contract and everything. Like, I got in big time trouble for that video.
Oh my God.
So yeah, because I'm supposed to like, I have to wear like my stuff a certain way.
Serious these days.
I know. Well, I guess they saw it and they're trying to cut down on like their people anyways, because the bonuses are coming up here in like a month.
For excuses to cut people.
Yeah, exactly. So we get to start out a year after about 3 or 4 weeks or whatever. We get our first bonus of the year, and then like we get paid off jobs after that. So yeah, I got in a lot of trouble for that. They pretty much told me that if I don't have a 6-pack again in like 2 weeks, that I'm done. So I was like,
yeah,
I'm having a lot of trouble.
Yeah, if I don't have a 6-pack, I've never had one, so
I don't know what it's like, but
right, exactly. I can totally relate.
All right, let's go ahead and do this, guys. Y'all ready to kick this off?
Ready.
Let's do it.
Here we go.
This is Fantasy Intervention. Now here to intervene with your fantasy life, Chase Vernon.
Welcome on in, guys, to Fantasy Intervention. We have yet another episode coming at y'all quick, coming at y'all hard. And of course, it's the Rehab Report, because it's Tuesday night, baby. We're about to turn up. We got Stephie in the house, of course, my wonderful co-host. What's going on, Stephie? How are you?
What's up, guys?
Oh,
I can't believe this season's almost done. This is actually depressing.
I know. Like, I'm kind of like in relief that I get to breathe a little bit, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't like it. I want to stay busy.
This gives me an excuse to drink on Tuesdays. So now what am I going to do? I'm just going to be drinking on Tuesdays without an excuse.
No, we have shows. We have shows planned on for you guys, of course. We are not finishing when the season ends. We are going to be going all throughout the playoffs. And we actually have a few different ideas that we're kind of tossing around right now as to different podcasts that we have planned for the offseason. Got about 10 different ideas, trying to narrow them down and figure out exactly what we want to do. But since it is the last one of the season, I had to bring a special guest on, because the first ever injury show that I did for Fantasy Intervention, I reached out to this guy who is, not new to the industry, but kind of getting his feet wet. And he came on, and I just read an article that took me, it was about almost 20 hours worth of research total in order to write this article. And it was pretty much diving into the potential happenings and the comparisons of 2011 lockout versus the 2020 season with COVID. So I had to bring on this injury expert, because the only thing that I found in the whole entire article over everything was the injuries. And I didn't know if I was crazy. I didn't know what I was talking about. I wrote this long article and I had no idea what I was talking about. So I brought Edwin on, right? At FB Injury Doc. And he came on and he absolutely crushed it. So I had to bring him back. What's going on, Edwin? How you doing, man?
Well, I appreciate that, man. It's a nice introduction. I didn't know that was your first injury report, actually. but looks like it's in good hands with Stephie. I know that Steph and I don't have six packs the way that you do, so we're just sort of lagging behind. We're doing our best to keep up with you.
Man,
That's all we're trying
I'm
to
lagging
do.
right now with all my stuff going on. Like, no, it's something as to where like you've absolutely blown up, man. I think at the time that we met up, I want to say you had what, like 3,600 followers or something like that back in the summertime, or was it 5,000?
I honestly, I don't want to sound douchey. I don't remember. I don't know. I don't know from there. You know what I mean? I don't remember. I know it was less than I have now, but that's just because people are so nice and they share my stuff. They talk about some of the stuff or they'll ask questions that I can touch on. So it's definitely a cool niche that I've found. And the people over at Fantasy Points are super, super cool about sharing my stuff. And Scott Barrett has been huge and instrumental in my Twitter follower account. And not that it's the only thing that matters, but he's constantly pushing the stuff that I put out. He finds it interesting. So it's really nice to have that. But I mean, you two are growing as well. This show is one of the most consistent shows, I mean, since I've been on. So, I mean, consistency is the number one thing, right? So you guys are doing a great job. You made it to the end of the season.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been very interesting to say the least. And I couldn't do it without Stephie, who absolutely crushes this show. She came on, what I want to say probably about 8 weeks ago or so. And, she's been the reason why this show exists and, why Fantasy Intervention is growing the way that it is. So,
I scare probably like 10% of the listeners that come on and then they probably never listen again. But at least for the 90% that are totally down, it's great.
It is great. We have loyal listeners in here, obviously. So it's something that we've had a blast with, and we're going to continue to grow. And like I said, we're going to continue to push stuff in the off season as well. We have big plans over there for Fantasy Intervention. You guys can go check it out at @joinourcircle_ over there on Twitter. So let's go ahead and kick this episode off. But before we do, I want you to give a shout out real quick, Edwin, to, all the stuff that you do, where you can find all your content. Cause I know you're pretty much everywhere now.
Just fantasypoints.com is right now having a huge sale. I'm pretty sure that their subscriptions are like $20 or $30 or for a subscription right now, for a premium subscription. That's where all my written stuff is. Other than that, just at FBInjuryDoc on Twitter. My podcast on iTunes, Spotify is also over on, or what's it called? It's the Injury Prone Fantasy Football Podcast. I just forgot the name of my own podcast.
The Injury Prone Podcast over there. So yeah, make sure you guys go check that out. Stephie, you have to pick
tagged him in my post, so you can also follow him off of that. Because I said it was the second best thing to Daniel Jones. I did think that Daniel Jones was surprising me tonight, but I'll deal with it being Edwin because I think it's awesome. But not quite Daniel Jones.
I'm not quite Daniel Jones. Are you a Giants fan?
Yes, she's a Giants fan. Huge Giants fan.
Interesting. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Okay.
That's how we met. We met talking offensive line blocking teams. And
because I got blocked by Mark Colombo. That's how we met.
How many people? I saw you got blocked by Lou Riddick too. How many people are you blocked by?
I did. I don't. Okay, but it's so weird because I saw his tweets a week ago. So that means he searches his own name and scrolls through. He's not a big fan of Giants fans at all, so that's part of it. I'm also blocked. There's only one other person I think that blocked me. There's one of the Denver beat writers, but
I aspire to be blocked by people that are as famous as that one day as well. So
yeah,
oh my God.
I'm coming for Geoff Schwartz. I'm telling you, I want him blocking by the end of the year, and then after that, I'll probably settle down. But
did you say Geoff?
I say Geoff on purpose.
Yeah, okay. I wondered if that was actually his name. And I was like, oh my God, I've been saying that.
Oh, sorry.
Anyway.
Now we have an inside joke, just so you know.
Yes, yes. Now I understand.
No, it's not Jeff. It's
Geoff, which makes more sense.
He deserves. He actually quote tweeted me and called me a crazy lunatic Giants fan.
Oh my God, did he really?
Yeah, but why did you block me then? Because he blocks everyone else. But
I'm gonna go search it. Chase, you can continue.
So fun. It's so funny. I'm pretty sure I retweeted it.
Well, this injury report for week 17 is something that's very interesting, getting back to the injury report. It's something as to where we actually do have not only injuries, but we have people that are going to be out this week, people that might not have to play, like Patrick Mahomes. They're talking about Chad Henne coming in and whatnot, but this is the injury report. So we are going to discuss the injuries. We're going to see, moving forward, if we can trust certain players and whatnot. But I do want to touch on the back end of some of these people that might be out and you might not be aware that they're out. whether you're playing DFS, whether you have a Week 17 championship, which, I don't know who does that. But either way.
I'm getting questions, though. There's a decent amount of people. I am. I've been getting questions. I keep telling them to DM me because I'm so crazy. I can't even keep up. I didn't know there was another week.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Actually, last year, I dumped my last league last year that had a Week 17 championship. So it's something as to where we still need to make sure that these questions get answered. So let's go ahead and kick off this injury report, Stephie.
Okay.
And the first person that you have listed is probably the person that you're getting the most questions about, right?
Are we looking at a different show sheet?
Is it Tyreek Hill? Is that the one that I'm looking at?
You're on the wrong sheet, Chase.
I told you I didn't get that one.
I'll tag again, but actually it's Julian Edelman and no one is asking about him. No one cares.
Oh my God. All right, this is starting out great.
Guys, I shared it with Fantasy Intervention. Who is the one that needs to get it together this time?
I don't have it.
I'm pumped. It's usually me. I added you.
I got the.
Is Tyreek Hill playing?
Yeah,
let's start there.
That's a good question. He's not on my list. So now Chase has not only not followed the show notes, but made me look like a complete idiot.
I'm telling you, December 27th, this is the one.
Oh my God. No, it's the wrong one. No, I don't even have him on here.
Oh, man. No. Okay.
Come on. Well, now I have to look it up. All I was going to talk about was Julian Edelman, okay?
All right, let's talk about Julian Edelman. Let's go.
Okay. It's not that big of a deal. No one really cares, but his no one cares.
Great. This is the best episode we've ever had.
Yeah, he wasn't activated from IR on Monday, which means I certainly think that this season is over for him. It's not the end of the world. I don't know that it's going to hurt anyone should you be in a situation that you're in Week 17 and you have Julian Edelman. So both of those scenarios in one are a little concerning, but he'll be, he had a knee procedure early in the season. He's toast at this point. I mean, they didn't activate him. We're going into Week 17. You're not going to see this guy. He's done so.
What about his future career? Like, is his injury going to hinder him at all? Moving forward, is this something as to where we could see it affect his 2021? And does he actually have the ability to, produce at his age? Like, is this something as to where you still want him on your roster? Or are you ready just to drop Julian Edelman in dynasty leagues?
I mean, that's tough. I mean, he is someone I'll probably ask our special guest to chime in on this because this is where his expertise comes into play. Is I think also as you get older, it is harder to come from injuries, especially from surgeries. It's part of the age, but he also has a whole off season to rehab and to do his physical therapy, which now I'm seeing you're a physical therapist, which is awesome. My father's a physical therapist, and I low-key I'm always texting him trying to we were just discussing Daniel Jones's injury. I'm sending him videos, so I respect that. It's awesome. My dad's cool. He's been a physical therapist since '85. But anyways, back to Edelman. I think he'll have time to rehab. So, I mean, were you getting that much from Edelman before a knee injury?
Yeah, those are all good questions, and I think that you hit the nail on the head. He's going to have an entire offseason, but at this point, I mean, it really just takes this, right? So this is Julian Edelman's injury history since 2009. Forearm fracture, foot sprain, concussion. Let's see, and sprained ankle, hand fracture, concussion, foot fracture, concussion, ankle, foot fracture, foot sprain, ACL, AC separation, and topped off by two, season ending, essentially one season ending scope to his knee. So moral of the story, at 35 years old, the athleticism is just not there anymore. He was really surviving off dump off passes from Tom Brady. And from just a general big picture zooming out perspective, when was the last time that you got fantasy relevant, maybe PPR 12-team league relevant production from a 36-year-old wideout? That operates out of the slot.
Larry Fitzgerald.
Do you start Larry Fitzgerald? I don't start Larry Fitzgerald.
Not right now. He's like almost 40 at this point.
Yeah, he's not worth, in my opinion, draft capital going into the offseason.
Yeah, man, I'm lagging real bad tonight. My bad.
Yeah,
this whole show is just a complete disaster.
You're low-key creeping me out.
Oh my God, stop. All right. So let's go ahead and who's the next person up on your list, Steph, that you have?
Okay. Well, I was trying to pull up Tyreek Hill now that you just tried to humiliate me in front of all my listeners now that I finally make a freak show sheet, Chase. So next up is Alex Smith. Obviously, there's a lot of question around this given the Haskins situation with him being stripped from the roster. Yes, I used the word stripped on purpose. I thought it was going to be funny. No one's laughing. Okay. But with his cap, he's supposed to play. Right now, he's supposed to play. If not, they have the backup there with Taylor. It's kind of a day-by-day thing. He's missed 2 games already. He's had plenty of time to kind of rehab and recover from that injury. So you probably will see him. If you don't, again, I'm shocked that anyone would have Alex Smith on the roster, but I respect you if you do. I just don't think that this is someone that you're trusting this week, even with that. His legs make me nervous. Just anytime you see Alex Smith in a leg injury, just run away at this point, right? But
anytime that somebody gets close to his legs, it makes me cringe. But, is this something, Edwin, as to where, like, this could be maybe the last straw for Alex Smith? Like, do you think he comes back next year?
That's the thing too, right? So it's a really cool story. The amount of rehab and surgeries that he went through is incredible. If he would have came into my clinic on day 1, I would have been like, dude, you're not going to play football again. And like the odds would have been in my favor at that point. Like there was no way this guy's going to play professional football.
He had a flesh-eating disease. I think people forget that. And that's like that's not the medical term, obviously, but I'm saying it so people understand. The amount of cases a year to get a flesh-eating disease like that is insane. The fact that this guy, 1, has a leg, and 2, is playing football, not even playing football at a professional level, is crazy. So I don't doubt for 1 second he could come back from anything. But sorry to interrupt you. It's like I feel like some people forget like how intense.
No, yeah. He also had part of his anterior tibialis resected, which is essentially the muscle that bends the ankle up. So you see him wear the AFO that helps him basically springboard himself when he runs. Like there's so much that goes into this Alex Smith comeback. So in my opinion, should he win comeback player of the year? I think so. And I hate to say it, he's just not good. He's not putting up good numbers, right? I mean, Washington's winning, but he's not putting up fantastic numbers. And just to be contrarian, I'm going to say that if you do have Alex Smith in your lineup, I don't respect you. Why do you have Alex Smith in your standard team lineup?
I love him. Can he come on more? This is so fun. Thank you. I agree. Come on, Alex Smith, week 17. Come on.
Yeah. What do you do? Yeah, exactly. You have a final that's in week 17, and you're starting Alex Smith. You literally just shut the podcast off. Stop.
Yeah.
Oh God. I can't. All right. So who's up next?
Now that we alienated half the listeners.
He's going back to Washington, so I'll stay on the Washington.
Hey, wait. 1 second. Let me actually go back to that real quick because maybe you do have one of these players that's actually going to be sitting down like Patrick Mahomes. So you had to pick up Alex Smith off waivers.
That's who you picked up off waivers?
I mean, if you have a 2-quarterback league, which is the majority of leagues now.
Jalen Hurts, come on.
No, 2 quarterback leagues. 2 quarterback leagues.
We'll put it this way. Alex Smith practiced in full last week on Friday. He didn't play. There's probably some psychology behind that, how he felt sort of internally. So physically, can he come back and play on Sunday? Mm-hmm. The chances are good. I mean, they're not going to start. What's the other dude's name?
Heineken.
It's like Heineken.
That one. Winky something, whatever his name is. Like, yeah, Heineken. They're not going to start him. Like, come on. Anyway, all tops are off. I mean, all bets are off for Washington this weekend as they try to win the NFC East. Seriously, nobody laughed at that. All tops are off.
What did you say? Can you repeat that right there? All bets are off for what?
Right.
Listening.
No, I initially said all tops are off for Washington. I meant to
He's really playing off the same joke that you went off of.
Yeah, literally the same. I just copied you.
If you don't laugh at my joke, I'm not gonna laugh at yours.
I laughed at your joke.
Yeah. So what he said was that basically the Giants are winning the division. And I'll wrap it up for you there.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh man. All right, Stephie. Who else you got on your injury report?
So Chase gets very frustrated with me because I can't stay on topic, and I'm working on it. But
no, I don't get frustrated. I have fun with it.
You get frustrated. It's okay.
I have fun with it, girl.
Anyways, back to Washington. Chase is a Washington fan. Is McLaurin? Just okay. We can play with that later. He is someone that had high ankle sprain. He's in a walking boot. I do not see him playing. This is one of those situations where with these high ankle sprains, you see it across the league. These don't take 2 weeks to get better. This is not something that you're not having a lateral ankle sprain that is recovering a little bit quicker with some good rehab. A high ankle sprain is way more involved with those ligaments up there. And I don't see McLaurin coming back, which is obviously hurtful to Washington, especially with Gibson still milking that turf toe. So he is not someone that should be on your roster by any means.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a disappointing end of the season, but these high ankle sprains are brutal anyways, as it is. So, you know, we'll see if do you guys think he's able to come back during the playoffs if they do make the playoffs?
Well,
I think so.
Yeah.
The return for these, and I don't know if this is the same ankle injury he's been fighting, because he's been on and off the injury report with this ankle all season. I don't know if it's the same one or if it's the same injury, if it's even the same side. But if it's just a one-off high ankle sprain that happened, I can definitely see him coming back within a matter of a few weeks. I know that the reported timelines for these ankle sprains are 4 to 6 weeks. If you look at some of the literature that's been published, and then some of the research I've done sort of on my own to skill players, typically these players can come back from them between 3 and 4 weeks. So, I mean, but Washington will probably be one and done even if they do make the playoffs, let's be honest. So I don't know how realistic that is.
You also have to take into account that Washington's also on the up right now. It's the same thing with the Giants. So this is
they're planning for the future.
Player right now, because obviously he did great this year when he was in. So I think it would be in their best interest, which I actually disagree with them starting Gibson. I think that is a recipe for disaster. So he's not someone that I would be excited to see on the field, but I do know that they're going to need all the help they can get. So,
all right, who you got up next?
Jared Goff, which I didn't get to look into this too much. I was actually surprised he got surgery. I'm so glad that Evan is here so that he can get a little help on this one. So he got surgery yesterday on his right thumb. He's hopeful to return for playoffs, which I think is realistic. We've seen surgeries on the hand across the league this year. I mean, these players are coming back the same week almost, it feels like. So it will be something where he will come back, especially in the playoffs. McVay has actually confirmed that Wolford will be the quarterback, though. Which with Goff is interesting because Goff has not been playing very well. So I would like to see what another quarterback does in there.
I looked at the numbers today, and Goff's on a points per game average. Goff's quarterback 22. I didn't expect him to be great, but I didn't expect him to be quarterback 22. He's been bad.
In terms of fantasy points, it's mainly because of the attempts in the red zone. So last year, I don't remember the numbers exactly, but off the top of my head, I believe last year's top 10 or top 12 in red zone attempts. This year so far, he's bottom 15, I believe, in red zone attempts, maybe even less than that. So they've been running the ball every time they get in the red zone. He's not seeing the same opportunities that he saw before that led Tyler Higbee to be, to have that season finish, that led Robert Woods to be able to do it. Even Reynolds, right? Reynolds was, sitting there and putting up touchdowns. He was a touchdown magnet to an extent throughout certain points of the season. Not like it was like that the entire year or anything, but Jared Goff just isn't passing as much. They're running it so much more often. And when he does pass it, it's pretty much on his own side of the field. Then once they move it closer.
He also can't throw the ball down the field. God forbid this guy tries to throw a long pass. It's just disturbing.
It is bad.
A long ball. It's just not possible. It's just not his thing. He does his best, but it's just not his thing.
It is bad.
So in terms of his injury, it was pretty nasty. Did you guys see it? He dislocated his thumb and then he reduced it on his own. And so it was fractured. And essentially what I'm assuming happened is they went in and they did an ORIF, which is essentially just putting the fracture back together essentially and letting it heal that way. So if it were a receiver, right, like Jalen Reagor, we saw him come back and I think it was 3 or 4 weeks because he's not gripping the football, grabbing the football, tossing it, having to maneuver it. So it's for Goff, I would be nervous after having this thumb fracture, even if he comes back in 2 weeks. I'd be nervous for what he's going to do. It's going to be difficult for him to get his strength back. He's probably going to still have swelling. It's going to be a whole deal. So the rest of the way, if you're thinking DFS or if you do I know a lot of people do playoff teams, they'll redraft and do just playoff teams.
Yep.
That'd be hard. I'd have a really hard time trusting Goff after this thumb fracture.
And I also don't trust him to begin with. So you add this fracture on top and it's I don't know. They were talking. It's interesting though, because when I first saw the reports, they were saying he could wait until after the season to get the surgery, but it didn't really make sense. I didn't see the injury myself, but I worry about Goff. He's not necessarily the player that I think of, and I get excited like he's going to have a great rehab. He'll have no problem with the injury. I think this is something that will definitely hinder his performance, which is unfortunate because the Rams have played very well. So it's sad to see, but I mean, I don't care that much. I don't have Goff.
I don't care.
This is why I wish they re-signed Blake Bortles. Like Blake Bortles is like a perfect fit for this offense, and he could even be running it better than Goff could right now. So I was really disappointed when they didn't re-sign him in the offseason. But sitting there and looking at it, it's like imagine Bortles being able to run the RPO with Cam Akers and with Henderson. And
but if Bortles couldn't beat out Goff, what does that say about Bortles? And if he can't beat out this second guy?
Well, that was the biggest thing. Well, so he went to be a free agent, and then they re-signed Wolford, who came from the XFL, and his contract was so cheap. Meanwhile, when we sat there and you looked at it, like the Rams were up against the books when it came to their contracts. And I can't remember their GM's name right now, but he's a newer GM. Like he's kind of still finding his way. He didn't do a great job designing, these contracts and these salary caps. That's why they had Todd Gurley. That's why they had to try and make room for Ramsey and whatnot. So sitting there and looking at it, it was like just a shitty situation overall, for the Rams. And
they're still paying that Gurley contract, right? They're going to be paying that for the rest of their life.
So Bortles wanted a certain amount. Meanwhile, they could bring in Wolford for pennies on the dollar compared to it, and I think they're going to regret it now. We'll see if they bring Bortles back in, to be honest with you, because that's what I would do if I was them.
What's really interesting, too, is I think there's been a lot of speculation about Goff. So I think this injury kind of came at probably the worst time for Goff. So say you bring someone in, and I mean, they have the team set up. This is a complete team. I mean, they do have injuries, and those are the next people on my list. But still, if you have a backup quarterback come in and have success, he's going to be under the microscope. It's already happening in that before this injury. And I'm not surprised he reduced it himself because he's probably panicking. He knows he's underspent. He needs to get back to that game. He knows he's got to play so that he can keep getting paid. So I worry about him. I don't think he is someone that's as elite as it's hard because the Rams are playing well. So you assume that the quarterback goes along with it. But I think he's been given a very good weapons around him. And that defense is obviously great. So.
Yeah, it's just floundering overall. So
Jared Goff is Mitch Trubisky West.
Yes!
Except for Mitchell can run.
Yeah. And Mitch knows how to play to get paid because he's doing it right now.
Oh, man. So, all right, let's go ahead and hop into your next person on your list since you already brought it up.
So staying on the Rams is Henderson. He was placed on IR. He's not coming back. You can kiss him goodbye. He's done. He is someone that had a high ankle sprain. This is one of the situations where his recovery is not going to be as fast as the quickest turnover. So he's just not playing. That's it. He's just not playing.
Not a lot to add to that. You're right.
What?
Yes, yeah, there's not a lot to add to that.
There's nothing really. He has a high ankle sprain. Some people can recover from it a little bit quicker than others, but they did place him. If you saw that injury, it was a little nasty. You could see him coming off the field. He just was not. You can tell the difference in the severity sometimes when you see the mechanism of the injury, and that was one where I could tell the second he got up, I'm like, just put him on IR now. It's not even waste time like they're doing with half these people in the league. So you don't expect to see him. Another ankle over there is Akers, who obviously is a hot commodity right now. He is expected to play. But again, this is something, let's watch practice status. Let's be careful. But he's one of those players Chase and I talk about all the time. If he is active, you're playing him. I don't care. There's no one that you're playing over him. So Akers, if he's still in your lineup, he is someone that should 100% be in your roster.
So I'm sitting here and I'm looking it up, and Blake Bortles signed with the Rams today, by the way.
Was that today?
Yeah. I'm sitting here looking at it because I was looking at his contract from last year, and because I was like, wait, it says that he's on contract with the Rams this year, but he was definitely a free agent. And I'm looking
because I retweeted something last night, and it was talking about Bortles with the Rams, whatever. And I retweeted. I'm like, wow, that's a name I haven't heard. Okay, 2020, bringing in Bortles. Let's just bring all of them. Let's bring every backup quarterback ever in the history of the past 10 years back in. It's crazy how many players, Dalton, Gilbert. Can you believe even Gilbert touched the field this year? I mean, we're talking McCoy, like all these quarterbacks. Mullins has played almost a whole season. It's very crazy, actually. But some of them
Some of them are
well.
really bad. Some of them are so bad. Like, they shouldn't be in the league bad. I don't know how these guys are even backups.
Like Finley, I felt so bad. Finley, after Allen got hurt, Finley is a horrible quarterback. I'm sorry. I just can't. God bless him. He needs to go to the gym.
I love that. It's funny. Poor guy.
He's so bad. It's so scary. I'm so scared. I watch him tearing his ACL every single time he starts running. I'm like, stay still. You're going to screw yourself.
Stay still.
Please don't move. Just throw the ball or pass it, but do something. I don't care. Just you're gonna get hurt. He's gonna get hurt. Daniel, who was in the other week? There's so many. It's crazy. It's
all right, Steph. So who else do you have on your list?
Okay, let's see. I don't even want to talk about this because I'd be interested to see what Edwin thinks about this because I am not expecting this player to come back. I've talked about it. I don't know what this is, like another Galladay situation. I don't know what they're waiting for. Just put the guy in IR. It's done. Just call it case is CMC. This guy had an injury in the beginning of the season. Then he started coming back. Then he got another injury, and now it's his quad, and it's just never ending. They've been saying for 3 weeks he's coming back. Every time they say he comes back, he's going to come back. It's just not happening. He's played, I think, a total of 3 games this entire season. His last game was week 9. If you are the Panthers, why would you even, I don't know why they haven't put him on IR already. Just call it a day at this point. But
yeah. No, I agree. The thing with him is he came off the high ankle sprain, right? And then they were super conservative with him. I mean, they drug that thing out the entire 7 or 8 weeks or something, way beyond even projected timelines.
The maximum. Past
the max. And so then he comes back and he gets landed on, separates his shoulder. He got an AC separation. That was bad. So he's been out since then, right? Then he was supposed to come back and he strains his quad, which is not surprising. And I don't mean to laugh at him straining his quad. It's not funny. It's just, geez, because this guy can't catch a break. So the last one makes sense. I feel like since this quad thing started, this was the plan. I don't think they were ever going to play him. Maybe it was just gamesmanship. I don't know. Quad injuries are not as severe as hamstring injuries typically. And dudes are typically back after missing 1 game from a quad injury. But I think this was a load management thing, a load sort of workload alteration thing. He was working the entire offseason and then he had to go to rehab. And then he came back from his first rehab, was working back to get to his game, and then had another injury. And then working back from that injury, his body basically was like, dude, this is too much. There are too many dips and ebbs and flows in these workloads. Got a strain. I don't think he's going to play. I don't think he was going to play from the beginning.
Which is actually starting to get worrisome for me. So if you're someone in Dynasty, I'm starting to get concerned with him. This guy is getting injured a little too quick. You're rehabbing and injuring something else. I don't know how but that I always get very nervous. This guy has been riddled with injuries this year, which is crazy.
Get me in leagues with Stephie. I will trade you everything for Christian McCaffrey.
I don't pick him up anymore. Ever since he got hurt, I don't know what it was. It wasn't. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. I remember
reading a report at some point over the past couple of years that talked about body fat and how certain athletes, they actually have a tendency to get injured more when they have less body fat overall, mainly because of the fact that they don't stretch as much. They're more concerned about, working out and building up muscle than they are about being physically fit for their sport. And I want to say it was actually basketball. They came up with the study. It wasn't football. So maybe, that's completely different. But when you sit there and you talk about some of these guys getting too beefed up, is it something that could actually affect, maybe, I don't know, some things being tighter, like tendons being tighter or anything like that? Or is this just something as to where I read a stupid report that doesn't actually make sense?
Well, I don't know the report you looked at, right? But specifically when it comes to muscle mass and physical fitness, you typically can't go wrong as long as I'd be ignorant to say everybody in the NFL is natural. But typically, the stronger you get, the more resilient you are to injury. He had 2 injuries that were out of his control, high impact, high velocity, physical contact injuries. The high ankle sprain was that. The AC joint separation was that. Those are articular separations of ligament to bone. I don't think I'm pretty certain that had really nothing to do with it. Yeah. The quad strain, in addition to that, is probably also from the alterations in the workloads. I'm not worried about Christian McCaffrey. I just tweeted today. I said that if you're taking Christian McCaffrey at 1.01, don't ask about his injury history. Like, I will take that injury discount. If he falls to 2, if he falls to 3, I'm all over it. I'm personally not worried about Christian McCaffrey next year.
Okay. So where I get skeptical is only because, and I'm sure this doesn't mean that I think he's going to just absolutely all of a sudden be trash. He's freaking Christian McCaffrey, right? It's fine. He's going to have a long season. I wish they would just put him on IR, let him rest, let him rehab, let him get PT in, let whatever he needs to do to recover fully. So something that I see on the Giants, which obviously I talk about a lot because it's what's near and dear to my heart, is you see these teams that use and abuse players. And that's why you see players that are very well known and they have these names that you hear and you know exactly who they are. You can't just use one player and just expect them to be the total production. You see it on the Giants. This is Saquon's second injury, right? So it's because that's the only player that they're using to have production. So my worry would be that they don't find some help for him. As long as they find help for him, it's not a big deal. But it's not unrelated to the fact that literally every target is Christian McCaffrey, right? I mean, that's what's happening over there. Of course he's going to get hurt. The body's not made to be able to just be indestructible. So as long as they kind of prepare for that, he's going to be completely fine. I mean, will he have a phenomenal season next year? 100%. It's Christian McCaffrey.
I agree, 100%. Sorry, I'm laughing at Chase in the chat.
What are we talking about chat? You know what?
Oh man, it's behind the scenes thing. You would know if you're behind the scenes. No, I'm just kidding. So
I heard that before. What are you pouring?
So, anyways, talking about water. No,
Try that.
I need it at this point. So, sitting there and looking at Christian McCaffrey, we're now going to pop over to another impact player that he's shown some form of injury. However, this year he's been relatively healthy. Deshaun Watson, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you got going on with Deshaun Watson over there?
So I don't know what you saw. I haven't seen an exact, I don't know what they're trying to say is exactly wrong. It's looking like it's some kind of elbow injury, right arm. I'm always really reassured when the player kind of finishes the game. So he did play the whole game. That's kind of reassuring, especially from this non-contact, and then they're out the rest of the game. Those are the injuries that scare the crap out of me. This is not one I'm super concerned about. He will play as long as the medical staff clears him. I can't think of anything that would hinder him completely from being able to play, but Ed would probably know better than me because I didn't see an exact diagnosis. It was going from elbow to arm to elbow to arm. Which one is it?
He landed on it pretty hard.
Like, is it? Yeah.
So I haven't seen the mechanism, but I know that a couple weeks ago, he actually had a stinger at the ulnar nerve. So essentially he got hit, boom, right there. It sent shocks all the way down to his hand, his third, fourth, and fifth fingers. And that your hand just buzzes. It's not fun. It's the nervy pain. Mm-hmm. So that's like a true stinger. So if that never fully recovered and then he fell on it again, that's probably what's going on. But I saw the same reports you did that he's going to play. He plans on being out there. Maybe some volatility is involved after that injury, but I mean, he just went off again. Well, I don't know how much you can actually fade Deshaun Watson, even with this injury.
I mean, the guy finished the game, right? I mean, even though they lost, it's fine, but what's going to be? They're just going to rush the ball maybe a little bit more than they're going to be passing it. I think something that people forget too is this is also this is professional football. So it's not like you going to your doctor's office. They're going to do.
They have drugs.
Yeah, well, not just drugs. There's more things that they do than just drugs. But have
oh god,
have all sorts of things that they can do. So I feel like this is something where I'm sure he will, especially pushing for. Are they in the play? They're not in the playoffs yet, are they?
They're like the fifth way.
They're really bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I tried to be nice. I didn't want to be like, "There's no way."
I can tell you try to be nice. Yeah, no,
I was trying to be nice.
You respect Alex Smith starters. You're trying to beat around the bush for the Texans. I'll just tell you, the Texans are really bad.
I basically bursted out laughing at the Lions. So I felt really bad because I'm sure there's lectins. Oh, maybe not more. But so he's someone that I think this isn't going to be an injury that would be career-ending should he re-aggravate it.
I think Edwin just X'd him out.
Okay, sorry. Is he a Texans fan or what did I do?
No, I think he literally just hit X on accident. Probably double clicked it.
Yeah, that was my bad. Sorry, I'm back.
Did you double click it?
Yeah, I did.
I'm like,
Yeah, I've done that
crap,
before,
you
too.
a Texans fan? No one told me.
Yeah, I left because I'm a Texas fan.
They're really bad, but no, it's something as to where with Sean Watson, like where do you actually hurt his hit? Like where do you get injured at one point in the game? Because I thought he got injured from falling on it when he tried to get in on the 4th down conversion or whatever.
I don't know if Stephie knows the answer to that, but I specifically don't know when Watson got hurt. He's such a non-concern for me. I didn't even include him in my write-up this week.
Yeah.
Okay.
He finished the game. So that's always mine. I don't know about you, Evan, but for me, it's if they come back in the game, I feel more confident in that. I mean, there's obviously some of those cases like Devontae Freeman and people like that who try to come back and it just doesn't work. But he finished the game. I think he actually may have gotten hurt in the first quarter is what the reports were seeing. Like, I didn't get to watch that game. I don't really watch the Texans that much. Really
Texans Bengals? You mean you weren't tuned in hardcore to that?
I was so excited to see the Bengals play. No. But yeah, so I think he played the rest of the game, though. That was what all the reports said. It's basically he's going to play. He finished the game. They lost, but it didn't really have to do with the fact that it was his elbow. It's at the Texans stock, no?
All right, so I do want to hear about another quarterback, Matt Stafford, and what happened with him, but you do have one more person on your show sheet, so I want to make sure that we cover that first. Frank Gore. What's going on with him? Is Michael P. Ryan going to be the guy moving forward? Is Frank Gore ever going to see another snap with the Jets?
Okay. I have more people. I just didn't finish my show sheet, Chase, because I have 3 shows today and I'm going crazy. But Frank Gore, I just want to give him the respect that he deserves as much as everyone probably doesn't think that he does.
He definitely does.
This is an older man that I think they did decide he's not going to play. I mean, they only had 1 game. No one thinks the Jets are going anywhere. I mean, they've been out for weeks now from the playoffs. So he has a lung contusion. He finished his game, though. I think it was awesome. He had 1,600 career rushing yards this past game. So I put him on my report, not because I think you guys have Frank Gore and you're relying on Frank Gore, but it's more to just pay some respect to Frank Gore and what he's been able to do over there. So I don't.
Someone out there starting Alex Smith, Frank Gore in the Texans defense. Somebody's doing
worried. Yeah.
Oh, God. Stop.
In week 17.
Yeah,
oh, man. Did you guys see how pissed off J.J. Watt was losing last week?
Yeah, and then people were so excited about what he was saying. I think people were more excited about – Texans fans were more excited about J.J. Watt, like, having that speech than they were about the Texans season ever.
Yeah.
J.J. Watt, how long does he spend out of the NFL, like, retirement-wise, before he becomes a head coach or even a defensive coordinator somewhere? Or even, coach in general?
2 years.
Like he is meant to coach football. That dude is like
broadcaster
Mike
first.
Ditka.
He likes attention. I think he'll do something different.
Yeah.
I think he'll be in the broadcast booth.
He's a really funny follow. If you guys
coach.
follow him on Twitter, he's hilarious. Him and his wife crack me up. They're both so funny. His some of the stuff that he tweets, he might be funnier than me. So
I like that that's the bar. He might be funnier than
I can't with you.
No, he's funny. It's gotta be frustrating to be on a team like that. So
yeah, his whole life, pretty much, his whole career.
He's phenomenal. And then you see your brother doing very well. Not speaking of the Steelers, Big Ben is not playing, which I knew was going to happen. What did I say at the beginning of the year? Big Ben is asking for an injury. It's going to happen. This guy is going to not play at some point. I knew it. I just knew it was coming. The man can barely
doing it on purpose.
He's old. He can't walk. He can barely move in the pocket. It was going to happen.
He wants to play one more year.
Why? He can't. He literally can't. So it'll be interesting. That's another situation where we see the backup quarterback come in and we'll see how he does. What's that? I don't even know his name.
Mason Rudolph.
Oh, but it's a revenge game a little bit. Not that I believe in those, but it's a revenge game.
Yeah, against Myles Garrett. I think the Steelers are letting the Cleveland Browns walk in on purpose to an extent.
I think it'd be hilarious if the Steelers win this game without Big Ben. I'm sorry.
It'd be hilarious because the Browns are going to Brown if that's the case. Yeah. So I saw somebody on Twitter today made a good point. They're like, if you can't beat Pittsburgh with Mason Rudolph in a must-win situation, you didn't deserve to be in the playoffs in the first place because the Browns have to win this to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they do. That's what I'm saying. I think they're doing it on purpose to let the Browns walk in so they don't have to face, I think the Ravens are the ones on the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And the Steelers would rather not face up against the Ravens. So
maybe
they'd rather face the Browns. So they're going to let Big Ben sit. That way the Cleveland Browns can beat them. And then, when they actually have to face off in the playoffs, it's a whole different animal. But
I have 2 names I want to highlight before you move on to something crazy.
No, please do.
Okay, just quick, because I think these are probably people that they probably have these people on their roster. The first one, I'm also judging you if you have him on your roster, is Evan Ingram. He's been dealing with a calf injury. So you saw him if you watched that game, which I hope no one did. He obviously was hurting towards the end, limping, very much visibly in pain. I think what they'll do is you'll see him not practice the beginning of the week. He'll probably be limited by the end, and he will play. This isn't the week against a Washington defense to be playing Evan Ingram. If that's your only option, then kind of stinks, but he will play. I don't know how much production he's going to get for you.
Okay. It's interesting because Evan Ingram's like allergic to touchdowns. He's sitting up there in like a yardage leader.
He's allergic to football.
Oh, yeah, and he's allergic to catching footballs. Like he doesn't actually want to touch them,
Like I think he has a hand injury. That's what I think. I think there's some kind of hand injury that's going on because he gets past the perfect ball and it's like in his hands and you just see him drop it. It's almost like he thinks it's funny and it's not funny.
Somebody should tell him it's not.
Has anybody seen Evan Ingram's hand, his working hand?
I personally haven't, so.
Oh, man. I can't. All right. So what about Stafford?
Okay. I didn't even look at Stafford. I thought he was supposed to be back, but Edwin, you want to jump in? I don't know.
He went in with like a rib contusion or something like that, and then he ends up hurting his foot. God.
He's held together by
just playing. Yeah, literally. I don't know how he goes out every week.
Duct tape's the answer.
So I watched the film on him, and it's impossible to get a good angle. He hurt his ankle, but I actually think that at least it looked like it was just a lateral ankle sprain because the defender took him, and after he threw the pass, took him like 10 or 15 yards back, sort of doing the thing where he's like, I'm not touching you, but he like kept driving back. And then eventually Stafford like tripped over himself. The camera zooms out on the all 22. You can't really see what happened. So I think that it was like a pretty significant lateral ankle sprain, and they pulled him at that point. So at this point,
he tried to play, he couldn't.
Yeah, it must have been pretty significant. You can't get like a high ankle sprain with a dude just like pushing you backwards. So I'm going to assume it's a lateral ankle sprain, but with the rib, with the thumb, with the ankle sprain, with the fact that they probably should be shopping Stafford at this point anyway and just blow that entire thing up. I don't know what the incentive is for him to play, but he always seems to play, and it's just insane to me. But he's another one of those dudes that over the last 4 weeks, even there was like 1 week where he scored 27 points or something. He was averaging like 14 points per game. Like he's not really a dude you get that excited about to start in the first place. Like maybe he's a guy you would have started in front of Alex Smith, but other than that, he's not that great.
Oh my god!
Only because of what he had on the team, but
right.
I'm definitely judging you if you have Alex Smith on your team, but I'm also judging you if you have Matt Stafford on your team.
Those are my 2 quarterbacks in the 2 quarterback league I'm in with Chase. Those are my 2 quarterbacks.
That's it. Those are the 2.
Can we wrap this up?
Yeah, of course.
I'm kidding. Sure. I'm joking, Chase.
Who's your other person you wanted to highlight?
Oh, the other one was Ayuk. He got high ankle sprain this past week, so
did he?
He's not playing. Yeah, I was surprised by that too. I saw the mechanism of it. Actually, I wasn't convinced totally that it was as severe as it is. They also could be being like precautionary with him. I mean, it's Brandon Ayuk, so I think that that's probably part of it. But he will not be playing, which means also you're basically not going to see him. Should they make? I don't even know if they're in playoff contention. I'm still upset with them after week 4 or 3 or whatever. They annihilated the Giants, so we're not on talking terms.
All right, so let's run through the a few of these that we did not cover, including guys that are sitting out. We had Patrick Mahomes, right? He should end up being out this week. Chad Henne's going to get the snaps. With Tampa Bay, right? They're sitting there playing to win, although I don't think their playoff seeding's changed too much. So, yeah, they're going to end up facing either the Giants or they're going to face Washington football team. I don't see them really sitting Tom Brady like they did this past week. Do you guys see them sitting it? I mean, they took Tom Brady out in the first half, but is this something as to where if they're beating the Falcons, to a pulp, are we going to see them sit all their starters?
Why are we assuming they're going to beat the Falcons to a pulp?
I'm just saying if they do.
Should they? But the Falcons also just played a very good game. So.
If they do, are we going to see them?
What did the Falcons do to you, Chase?
The Falcons aren't good.
They played a good game, though. I don't know why. I mean, if Tom Brady is playing phenomenal and he's throwing up a million points, sure, but he also nearly lost to some really shitty teams. So, but yeah, sure, he can come
out. But Mike Evans played the whole game. So is Mike Evans somebody that they might sit this week, or are you starting all the receivers with confidence?
I'm not starting anybody in week 17 with any confidence, honestly. Like, you never know when they're going to get, especially playoff.
I'm not starting any Buccaneers with confidence.
Right, exactly. like people like Brady balled out, and I get it, and he's been good over the last 4 or 5 weeks, but like that you can't trust that receiving core. I mean, I don't know. I think that it's obviously Tom Brady, so people like want to make a big deal about it, but he's like overall over a 16 game, 16-week season, he's been good. Like he's been good. He hasn't been like fantastic. He's just been good.
Yeah. And I think also you look at their players too, and I think their most consistent player at this point is almost Gronk, because I haven't looked at the numbers, obviously, but you're seeing such a different combination of people on the – you never know what you're going to get there. You could play one of those players, but he gets no targets because players like Rodgers and Brady, they do whatever the hell they want on the field, regardless of what the play is. So if they decide that they're going to throw the ball to one person all game, they're going to feed that person the ball. So I always get worried with teams like that, especially the Buccaneers, because they're really all over. They're hard to predict this year.
What about Cole Beasley over there? Because Cole Beasley's been a hot topic lately, and he's sitting there with a foot injury. Have you guys heard anything about Cole Beasley being week to week with a foot injury?
I saw him leave, but I didn't see anything today.
I didn't see anything either. I'm going to assume if it was a foot injury, they pulled him. It's a midfoot sprain. They're calling it week to week. He's probably not going to play this week. Typically when coaches say week to week, that's what it ends up being, at least for the first week. I wanted to back up. Sorry, go ahead. What did you say?
No, I'm just saying the Bills are chilling. Like they're fine.
No, right, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But go ahead.
So I wanted to back up. I didn't say it in the moment, but with Evan Ingram, I did watch his film. It was a really vague mechanism to his left ankle. And what they're saying is Joe Judge says that he's optimistic. But then it's funny because in the same article, he's like, yeah, we're pretty optimistic he's going to be okay. Yeah. He still hasn't met with the team doctors, so I guess we'll see from there and see how he's moving.
He was on IR the week before. So it's something, his calf was hurt the week before.
Was it?
I think he was probably compensating. Yeah, he was on IR. I just don't really pay attention to Evan Ingram's injury because he's not going to win for us. Whatever. It's like, fine. It's okay. I'm so happy.
Well, for the person who has Alex Smith and Frank Gore and the Texans defense and starting Evan Ingram, just so you know, person out there, he might not play this week. There's a chance because if he's banged up enough with the calf and now with what appeared to be the mechanism two-way high ankle sprain, he could be limited, and he's already been bad, like Stephie was saying.
The way he grabbed it too, it did not look pretty over there. And also, if you are that person, you should a couple classes on fantasy.
you should be probably taking like
the championship week with that roster. More power to you.
Right.
I'm really stressed out for you.
I mean, Cooper Kupp's on the COVID list, so now there's
Yeah, I didn't go over the COVID list this week. It's week 17. We're just having fun at this point.
Yeah, sure. I like it. All right. So is there any other players that we missed out on, Edwin, that you want to brush on real quick?
You know what? Not that I can think of right now, but I'm going to pull up my article that I had on earlier because I do think there's somebody in the back of my head that we're missing. Stephie, you got anybody?
Watkins is another one that I'm thinking of right away. I didn't write it down, but it's popping in my head. It's not supposed to be too serious of an injury. I believe it's the calf. So he is expected to, it's weird. At first they were saying it wasn't serious. And then the most recent article that I was reading, they do think he might sit, but is it because they're sitting him because it's also the team he's on and they don't really need him this week. So it'll be interesting to follow that injury. By now, I don't think he had any imaging done, so I'm not entirely sure. I haven't been following it too close. The only other person that I'm surprised that no one has asked me because it comes up every week is Joe Mixon. It would be nice to have else on
I saw
here.
you tweeted about Joe Mixon's foot. That was funny.
Oh, that's her thing.
Props on that one.
I am kind of pushing. Actually, someone has a burner account for his foot, and they reached out.
That account is amazing.
They reached out to you. Reached out to me.
They did. They reached out. What did they say? It was something so funny.
Did they reach out with their hand or their foot?
Well,
so I I knew there was somebody we were missing. Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is a dude. He went down, right? And it was a very vague injury. He goes down and he hit both knees on the way down. Best case scenario, he has like a bone bruise. Worst case scenario, he would be like an intra-articular or meniscus issue. I don't think it's that. I think he's on the injury report specifically, literally with lower body, quotation marks. I think this is gamesmanship. I think he plays. DeAndre Hopkins also was on the injury report after this game with upper body injury. I think Kyler Murray's fine. I just don't. I hate using like feel. I try to go off statistics, but this just doesn't feel like it's very serious for Kyler Murray.
And with Kyler Murray too, even if he is having an off game, and I'm someone that I was really worried about his shoulder. I thought it was a little bit more serious than it was. I was worried because he runs a lot and he's going to get tackled and whatever. But he's someone that he's still not going to get you. He's going to get you more points than Alex Smith. Is the bottom line. I don't know how else to say it. He's even if he is injured, they're going to do what they need to get him in a spot. I'm starting to get a little worried about Hopkins. It's starting to seem like he has some kind of disc. There's something going on with him because this is now a little bit of a repetitive thing where we're seeing him on for upper body, back, then it's neck. So it'll be interesting to see if I'm worried about his career a little bit. Not that, I mean, you could play him. It's fine. He's going to be fine. But
they haven't invested in the offensive line at all, and it's killing me. Like, they should have drafted an offensive lineman this past year. They didn't. They took Simmons. Mm-hmm. It's been killing me how they're treating Kyler Murray like he's, Superman. Essentially the same way they're treating Deshaun Watson. It's like, what are you guys doing? Like, stop.
Same way they're treating Daniel Jones, who I thought was going to be the special guest.
Oh, I think that's a good point to end it on, right? That makes sense. Oh, God. Anyways, Edwin, man, I appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate you having me. It's fun.
Hope you reach out to Stephie more in the future. She's definitely trying to, aspire to be who you are, essentially.
I don't know if that's the case. You could probably do a lot better if that's. You should shoot a little higher, I think.
I'm just kidding. I'm talking about the fantasy football world, man. Like, you're somebody that we all look up to. So
great. Once she told me, by the way, I mean, I'm a very honest person. If you haven't been able to tell, I stalk the shit out of you. So I think what you're doing is great, and definitely keep it up.
I appreciate that. If you have any questions, or if I can give you any data, if you have questions about things, I would be more than happy to jump into my DMs.
A
lot of people DM me.
That's a risky thing to ask me.
People will remember.
It really is. I'm not gonna lie.
I will.
Hey,
okay.
Evan, what do you think I should have for dinner?
Right. Exactly. Well, I guess people like John.
No, she's way more ruthless than that. Like, come on, that's like a PG question from her.
I would just message you, what the fuck is wrong with this
guy? So what I meant to say was there are other people who are also in my DMs who will DM me and be like, I know you tweeted about like this stat or that stat. Can you like give it to me? And I know what they're talking about, so I'll send it to them. So that's like I bet your DMs are like a dumpster fire. Mine are basically just like sending my own tweets to people when they ask for them. So that's what I meant.
Mine are like free. Mine are like the porn you don't have to pay for, but it's like you can like it's bad. So I just don't go in my requested DMs. But really, I definitely will take you up on it.
No, it's amazing. She's going to be our little superstar. She's actually going to be in charge of running the whole injury report next year once we launch on the website, which we have some big things happening for that website, stuff that the industry is not ready for yet. So I'm very excited for it.
No one's ready. You're right. Literally.
Nobody's ready. We're excited, man. We have a bunch of misfits together over there at Fantasy Intervention. We're just over there having a great time while, producing content. So we love it. Anyways, if y'all want to go check out Fantasy Intervention, go check it out at joinourcircle_. But the star of the show, not Stephie, Edwin. Can you let everybody know where to find you?
Yeah, at FB Injury Doc. Find me on Twitter. It's the best way to get a hold of me.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
he's doing awesome stuff. Check it out. I am Stephie Smalls with 3 L's. Everyone's sick of me saying 3 L's, but it is Stephie Smalls with 3 L's. And it's been a blast, guys. I'm kind of happy the season's done. Not really, but kind of. This has been a weird injury season, so hopefully next year is a little bit kinder to everyone's body.
Don't worry, fans. By the way, she's still going to be on camera. We're going to figure out some way, somehow, to get her on some podcasts. We have a bunch of different ideas going on, a bunch of different live shows that we actually want to publish and produce. we're going to be talking about that over the next week and figure out exactly where she fits in best. So,
and when they don't have me, they're going to be complete jerks. And my team is going to ask my mom to come on a show, and it's not going to be my show. So you guys can, when is my mom coming on the show? Like, tomorrow?
oh, so we have Mama Smalls coming on the show. Not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. It's going to be insane. I am very excited for not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. She's going to be our host for an amazing show that we have planned.
Yeah. All right.
Stephie Smalls' mom.
Enough about mom.
No, wait, I'm so excited for that show. But actually, tomorrow night, we actually have a huge show over here at Fantasy Intervention. You guys can find our stuff over there at youtube.com/fantasy intervention. And we actually have an amazing show tomorrow night because Mike gets to chug a Big Mac smoothie.
Ew.
Ooh.
What is wrong with you guys?
Yeah, what is wrong with you?
I'm getting my chest waxed.
Is Mike the guy who started Alex Smith, Frank Gore, Evan Ingram in the Texans defense in Week 17? That's the same guy, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
No, but he's my co-host, and he lost a bet, so he gets to chug a Big Mac smoothie. Meanwhile, we actually have Raging Q, we have Sal Lido, and we have Nate Hamilton on with us tomorrow night as well. So we have a huge crew, huge cast, like some of the best superstars in the industry. They're going to be on to sit here and watch Mike chug this Big Mac smoothie, and I cannot be more excited. How
do you make a Big Mac smoothie? Do they have I've never had a Big Mac. So do they? He's going
to throw it in a blender with a bunch of liquor.
Ew.
Ugh, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's going to be Mike's. Make sure you mention that, by the way, on your next show that you're going on to. Yeah, it's going to be insane. Make sure you bring up the Big Mac smoothie tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, youtube.com/fantasy intervention. I'm so excited. Anyways, but I'm more excited for your mom to come on the show with us. And if you guys want to go check me out, you guys can find me at ff_intervention. We're just constantly pumping out content over there. It's been a ton. It's been a ton of fun. And yeah, we're going to be live tomorrow night. So make sure you guys check us out. Thank you, Edwin, for joining us, man. Like every time you come on, it's impressive. I have a blast with you. It's been a lot of fun.
I appreciate you guys.
Please come on more often. Sometimes Chase annoys the shit out of me, so it'll be great.
Ask me more often. I'm here.
I will. Well, I know you're a busy man. Like you actually introduced us to Adam. So this is the guy that introduced me to Adam, by the way, Stephie. He does our he does our Sunday
origin story of that at some point.
Adam is the guy he's the person we're talking about that starts Alex Smith because no. And then he starts Ingram because we both said no. He just likes to disagree.
He's a contrarian guy. I can see that. I can see Adam doing that.
I don't know where he's from, but I was surprised with Dr. Juice coming up. Where?
Oh.
Well, wait. He's gonna hate me. So
this Sunday?
Yeah.
Make sure you guys go check out our YouTube channel this Sunday at 11:30. youtube.com/fantasy intervention. Anyways, we appreciate you guys for coming out. We appreciate you guys for tuning in, showing your support. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you for letting us intervene with your fantasy football life. We're out.